How's it going, guys? My name is Franco and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at our monthly analysis for November. Now, we're minutes away from the monthly close. We're about 38 minutes as of recording. So pretty well, we are smack bang on the monthly close where we are. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin dominance, Ethereum, and our favorite altcoin Crow, seeing where it's at in its accumulation phase. We do these videos every month and we pretty well keep track of where we are and we update our thoughts, our analysis, etc, etc. So in this video we'll be looking at our 4-year cycle, Bitcoin dominance, Ethereum, and where we are as a whole in the Bitcoin cycle. Are we at the bull market stage? Are we at the bear market stage? Are things going to take a turn for the worse? We'll hopefully decide that by the end of this video. Now before we do get any further, I want to thank you guys for 200 subscribers. It's very cool. I've been asking in the last few videos if you could get us to 200 subs, and we did it, which is awesome. So if we could continue pushing up a bit higher, let's raise the bar. 300 subscribers would be awesome, guys. So thank you all for the people who subscribed and are returning back to this video. And remember, if you do enjoy, remember to like the video, help the algorithm boost it out. But let's start off with our Bitcoin 4-year analysis cycle. Now, as we said in our previous videos, we're likely in the churn stage of the pre-halving churn, as I like to call it. So the black lines, they indicate the Bitcoin halving, and you can see we have the one coming up in April of 2024. And then what we've got here in the orange boxes is basically a churn period where the price is quite indecisive and there's a lot of ups, a lot of downs, and it's a bit of a confusing period is what we're saying. Now, obviously, as you can see, we're in this blue accumulation period. So this lasts typically 24 months. So from the bottom of the market to the prior all-time high is roughly 24 months. And that's where we are right now as of the recording of this video. But what we really want to look at, so the 4-year cycle seems really well intact. You can see that we're almost in a linear line. If we were to just draw from the bottom, oh, is that going to work, to the top here? It's not going to work. Hang on. All right, there we go. My screen had frozen, but if we just draw a line from the bottom to the top, you can see we're actually almost perfectly tracking along to hit our target. Now, of course, it's not going to be perfect. We're going to have, ups, downs, whatever, but generally speaking, it's gone a lot smoother than we could have really predicted. I thought that it'd be a bit more difficult, a bit more, confusing to pick out, but it's actually just been consistently higher highs and consistently higher lows, which has been great. It makes my job a little bit easier. But if we're looking at how long this churn period could kind of last, because I don't want to rule out the fact that we're out of the churn period. It could still be before the halving. We might not see a lot more price action. It might all come after the halving. So we do need to be prepared for that. So if we have a look at our prior cycles, the churn period in the 2015 accumulation zone, or the 2015-2016 I should say, you can see here that from this big up bar where we hit a high, and then if we go across to the breakout, that took about 6 months. So there was a 6-month period where we basically stagnated, where we flatlined, and it would have been, as we've said before, a very confusing time to be in the market looking at this, and Bitcoin basically just dies all of a sudden. The price action isn't really moving. We're going up a little bit, we're going down a little bit, we're going down a little bit, up, down, confusing time. That's why we're calling it the churn, because it's hard to pick. And the price action is just churning around, not really doing a whole lot. And then, of course, the breakout, and then the halving, of course, a bit of a sell the news event, and then we're off to the races pretty well. If we go to the next cycle, this is in 2019-2020, you can see that we have our big pump out of the bottom, and then we have from the top to the halving is about 11 bars, but if we want to push it out to the breakout candle, it's actually 16 bars. You can see the big one here is 16 bars, so it could be a very long churning period. So where do we find ourselves at the moment? Well, if we were to base it off the absolute shortest that we've seen, which is 6 months, we could say that hypothetically, if we were to draw this here, that could be the churn period. Done and dusted, right? So we've got a high, We go up and down, we have a bit of a churn and a breakout candle. That is that's a possibility that that's the case. Now, I don't think it's going to be that simple. If it is, that's good for us because, as we said, we've been bullish, we've been dollar cost averaging in the market. So if the price is to pump from here, great. If this is the churn over, and from here on in, it's pretty well off to the races, then we're not complaining, right? Because we're in the market. As we said, we should be dollar cost averaging in the churn period, which we've been hopefully doing, which is great. So it doesn't matter. But if it does continue to churn out, if we look at this 16 bar period, it takes us a lot further out. It's kind of similar to the 2019 one, where it takes us to after the halving. Now, of course, it's not going to play out the exact same as this. It's not going to play out the exact same as this one either. It's probably going to do its own thing, and we're going to look back at history, and we're going to have to compare the 3 different churn periods of Bitcoin. So it's more than likely that this is just doing its own thing. We don't really need it to play out the exact same as prior cycles. We just want to have a rough idea of timing pretty well. And what we're looking at here is that we are probably either this period here is maybe the churn period, maybe not. I know that's not great analysis, but it's hard to pick. We might be out of it and we might be off to the races, or we could just come back down. It could be still pretty slow, up and downs. We'll just have to wait and see. But the halving is coming up, and we are still intact for our December 2024 target of hitting the prior all-time high of 69,000. So that is all well and good, and we expect that to continue. Now, if we have a look at Bitcoin on the daily chart, so the daily chart, we've been tracking this and kind of just looking at what happens after big pumps or big dumps. We basically get a really, really boring period. As you can see, we have a big dump, and then we have a 60 bar period where nothing happens. We have 13 bars up. Then we have this big 48 bar period where same thing, not a lot really happens. Price goes up, price goes down. Then we have a short pump, and you get the picture, right? So we've got short, definitive moves in the market, and often a lot of nothing. So what we've just seen is quite a definitive move from Bitcoin, and what we could logically expect now is a whole lot of nothing, maybe a bit of bleeding in price. You can see that often price will hit a nice big number, and then it'll just kind of bleed out. It'll sucker people into the bearish narrative, people who want to sell, who bought the top, if that makes sense. So we're more than likely here, I think, just in another nothing period. Of course, there's the possibility that price just goes up. If it does, great, helps us out a bit. But there's no real reason here to be jumping the gun, going all in at this price necessarily. It's more just looking at, perhaps, as we've said before, a simple dollar cost averaging. All you have to do is look at where we are in the cycle, because at the end of the day, if you dollar cost averaged from, it doesn't even matter, from November of 2018 all the way up to October of 2020, okay, you would have been negative, then you would have been positive, and then you would have been negative. But in the end, you got a great average buy-in price during this blue and, the end of the red period at the blue period. And then you're off to the races and you make tons of money. And that's where we kind of are now. Maybe you started dollar cost averaging back here in June. Maybe you started buying in March. It doesn't really matter, because if you do believe that the 4-year cycle is intact, as we're saying it looks like it is, then effectively we should just, be buying in a general bottoming area. Wherever that general bottoming area is, maybe it's, this sort of area here, somewhere around this area, whatever. Maybe we bought all around here. Maybe we're buying all around here. Maybe we're buying, all of the above. We're buying this massive area. It doesn't really matter. We should just be looking at getting good general prices. We shouldn't be trying to time the exact bottom, time the exact top. That's why, even when we were talking in our last video, we said during this period here that basically, if we go back to sentiment, it's hard to remember, but during September and October, people were really confused. Is September historically being one of the worst months for Bitcoin? People were very bearish, but we were pretty well saying, well, the simple matter of fact is that we've got, as you can see, indicated by our black lines, higher highs and higher lows. So there was no real reason to be overly bearish, and it was just kind of yet another dollar cost averaging area. And that's kind of what we're looking at here. The opinion doesn't really change. It's hard to guess whether price pumps up from here or, bleeds out and goes down. It doesn't really matter as long as we're dollar cost averaging, as long as we're getting a good general buying area wherever it is. Oh, I didn't mean to move that one. Wherever that general buying area is, wherever it is in this, as long as we buy somewhere around here on average and then we sell somewhere around here on average, then we're making good money and we're beating the market. So that's what's really important here, is that, we don't want to get over the top, or we don't want to get overly emotional. We don't want to do something, a bit spontaneous, a bit erratic, and do something dumb like buying the exact top and then watching price bleed out for the next 2-3 months, and then, sell our position at the bottom. That's not what we want to do. We want to look at a simple strategy that's easy to implement. And that's why we've been saying for a long time that we're pretty well just in a dollar cost averaging area. Continue to buying in, a reasonable amount, and just hoping, and, by using our analysis of the 4-year cycle, that price will generally go up for where we are in the cycle. Now, the other thing that we've been looking at here is Bitcoin dominance being super duper strong. As you can see, we've referenced this tweet I made a couple of times. I managed to basically get the bottom, which is, the exact bottom, which is, great for me, whatever. Don't want to toot my own horn, but it's just what we're really looking at. I just want to remember, back to this time in the market where even though Bitcoin dominance was going down, it looked like a great period in this general area where we had, we got this trading range, we got this wedge that we broke out, we came back, we retested, and what we said, I've got it written here, the breakout and retest of the previous trading range will look to send Bitcoin dominance into the green trading range, which is this box that we've got here, into the green trading range, and upwards of 58%. So 58% basically being the top of this green box here. Now, where we end up in this box, I don't know. Maybe we go higher, I don't know. But the point is that Bitcoin dominance looks strong, and there's no real reason at the moment to say that it's looking weak. Of course, we've got a weekly candle that's red, but it's got 5 days until the weekly candle close. So we just got to sit back, wait and see. Maybe we go higher, unless something, unless the structure changes or something, then maybe we can start looking at Bitcoin dominance flipping if this trend line breaks, something like that. But until something significant happens, I'm not really going to change our thesis yet. Of course, it's reasonable. We've had how many candles? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 candles up, 10 weeks in a row of green candles for the dominance. So it's entirely possible that we just have a cool down period, come back down, and then look to go up a bit higher. That wouldn't be surprising. Whatever happens from here, at the moment, nothing's really changed. We're still saying Bitcoin dominance is strong at the moment, and we just got to wait and see until something changes. Now, in the last video, we were talking about ETH basically being on its last line of defense. We're looking at, hang on, if we can expand out a little bit, we're looking at this 50% level here, from this top to this bottom, being the last point of support, basically, that if it were to break down, things would look very dire. But if we were able to hold it, things weren't maybe looking so bad. And we were actually, if we go back when that video was uploaded, it was around one of these two October candles is when we uploaded it, and we actually bounced away. So we're in the bullish scenario still. So I guess the next thing is, where does Ethereum, does it break out of here, or does it just get rejected? What we really just need to continue seeing is this trend line hold up, the 50% hold up. But ideally, you can see here, this where we've drawn all these circles, we've been talking about this for a long time, that $19,000 to $2,000 range being big resistance. So we're just waiting for something to happen. Same thing with Ethereum. As we said, similar to Bitcoin, these sort of periods in the market and where we are in the 4-year cycle, being in the the up time of the 4-year cycle, it's basically time. This whole period here, we really should have been dollar cost averaging, and nothing's really changed. It's not about going all in now. It's not about keeping all our chips off the table. It's about smart entries at general bottoms, which is where we seem to be right now. And if we can break out of this $2,000 range, things will look amazing pretty well. Now with Crow, we've been looking at for the longest time, this being a bottoming pattern. We've been talking about it for a long time now, it feels like. We're on the weekly chart, so this is, months and months and months we're talking about. This is, January, December of last year. So we're coming up on a year of a bottoming pattern, but we've been comparing this to the Wyckoff schematic for, why is it highlighted? How can I unhighlight? There we go. We've been talking about this as kind of like an accumulation phase, and we've been kind of jotting along what we think. So as we can see, we've got our selling climax, automatic rally, secondary test, and a spring. So we're kind of looking, you can kind of see it, a similar pattern, right? So a selling climax, a rally, a secondary test, and a spring. That's kind of what we're looking at here. And now if that is to be the case, then we would expect, hopefully, a breakout of some of our monthly swing tops, which we've been talking about for the longest period of time, being big resistance. We've got our 9.5 cent range, but we're really talking about that being a 10 cent, because 10 cents obviously is the mental number. We need to break above that, not just 9.5 cents, but 10 cents as well. Our April swing top of 8 cents roughly, and then our July swing top of 6 cents, which you can see right now we are right on the brink of. So assuming that we can break that 6 cent range, that will be the first big step. As you can see, what we really want to do is get above our swing tops and start to form a base. Now that is obviously going to be a long time away until we get up to this 10 cent range, but the big one, if we can just get above 6 cents, what we really need to see is the formation of higher highs and higher lows, which we still haven't gotten with Crow. You can see we've got a lower high, lower high, lower high, and a lower low, lower low, lower low. So until this can flip to a more bullish pattern, that is what we are looking for. And the other thing is I quite like this bottom here because where are we? The thing, because we broke down here and we're kind of saying that this could be the bottom here a long time ago. We're saying this could be the very bottom, but if not, we just need to kind of reset afterwards and, consider how many more bottoms we could get. But we did say that the wick below 5 cents seems like a nice little fake out. And if you actually look at this chart, it's kind of crazy. We never even closed below 5 cents. As you can see, the dotted lines, this is on the weekly chart, of course, but we've never closed below 5 cents, or actually, sorry, in this cycle, we haven't closed below 5 cents. So that looks like a really nice fake out. That's kind of another mental number, a nice round 5 cents, of course. So a nice mental number. People probably missed that, and there was only a handful of people really, in the grand scheme of things, that got Crow below 5 cents. And it looks like it's off to the races here. If we can get a nice close, eventually, hopefully, on the monthly chart above the 6 cent range and break this higher high, then that would be absolutely fantastic. And we can start considering whether or not this is a Wyckoff, a proper Wyckoff, and whether because right now, based on our kind of analysis, we're saying that we are likely in phase C, and that we could soon be entering phase D, which, there's still a lot of testing to be done, but if we can start to break some of these swing highs, you can see here he's got tests, that's kind of what we are hoping to see, some tests of these, swing tops here, consolidation above. That's what we want to see. So fingers crossed, only time will tell with Crow. Now with Wyckoff patterns, of course, they happen on any time frame. They can happen on a monthly time frame, a weekly, a daily. They could even happen on the 1 minute chart, although I don't think anyone is studying the 1 minute chart. But we're on the daily Crow chart, and we're kind of seeing a similar pattern to what's happening on the on the grand scheme of things. Is also happening on a very small scale. So I kind of noticed this just recently, just about this a couple of days ago. I was like, hang on a second, this looks familiar. Where we've got a selling climax, you can see volume increase into the selling climax. Now on this chart, Crow does close below 5 cents, it goes a lot lower than 5 cents. Now the charts between exchanges are a little bit different, so this is a different chart that we're using, so the prices will change a little bit. I do just want to note that. Then we've got an automatic rally, a secondary test, and then a spring right into the bottom here, and then it looks like, a small test, sign of strength, and then a last point of supply. So if we're looking at where we are in this one, if we just get some vertical lines, and we compare this to Wyckoff, so it looks like phase A, where we get our selling climax and automatic rally, seems to be somewhere around here. Hypothetical, this is just rough sketch. Phase B, where we get a secondary test, seems to be around here, and then it looks like we basically bleed into the spring. Let me just double check this. Yep, into the spring, and then we get I should move this. So then we bleed into the spring. We get a small test. What we're looking at, this test right here. So we get a test of, price, and it looks ready to go up. This is where we get our sign of strength. Obviously, showing a lot of signs of strength as it breaks out, and you can kind of see here how the price gets above prior swing tops. Now, of course, this is just a daily chart, but you can see that where we are right now, we are above these swing tops here, so that is showing signs of strength. And then you could even say that, of course, it's not going to always play out the same, but this here is the last point in supply, where we get this little bit of churn, and it looks like Crow is ready to break out any minute now. It could happen right now whilst I'm sitting here, or it could be rejected and we could have to reset and kind of say that, okay, this is not phase D that we are in. Or hang on, let me draw one more line. This being phase D, so we've got A, B, C, D, and then E being the significant period where we kind of go off to the races and make heaps of money. Now, of course, remember, this is just a daily chart, so even if we do get into a phase E, it's not necessarily likely that it's going to be some sort of mega bull market, because this is just the daily chart. But what we want to see is the daily chart show strength, show bottoming patterns, because then that will convert into the weekly chart, into the monthly chart, and hopefully help form our bottom, our macro bottom. Now, of course, this is a micro bottom, very small bottom, just on a daily chart, but it will definitely help send Crow higher and hopefully help support our analysis that this is the Crow bottom forming at the moment. Is this the exact bottom? I don't know. I hope so. That'd be great. Don't really want to go too much lower than 5 cents, but this seems to be the bottoming area, and Crow is showing really good strength on the daily, but only time will tell. But that's all we have for today. So we've looked at all of our different cryptocurrencies. Now, do remember, if you haven't subscribed yet or haven't liked the video, feel free to do so. We post weekly videos here on the channel, and then we post weekly videos, and if you do enjoy cryptocurrency content, this is the channel for you. I can help you guys out, help improve your investing and trading, and give you guys some great information. Do also check me out on Twitter. I haven't posted in a long time. I don't know why. I think once Bitcoin hit the churning period, I was kind of like, there's not a lot that's happening in the market. I can't comment on Crow from November to, for an entire year, that this is the bottoming pattern, guys. There's not a lot to say in the market right now. This isn't very, for the most part, a very exciting period. A lot of cryptocurrencies are just doing the same thing as they have been for the last few months. So that's kind of why I stopped tweeting, but hopefully I can tweet a few more times for you guys. I'll try and start doing that. But if you do enjoy, remember to like and subscribe. I got some referral codes down below. Feel free to use those. If you have any questions, comment as well. Comment in the video, and I'll hopefully respond to you guys. Anyway, enjoy the rest of the day. It's almost the weekend. It's Wednesday here in Australia. We're almost there, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video.